Good. Oh, wow. What went down my throat here? As I was trying to swallow. Sorry, guys. I thought it was going to be a better introduction than it is. Okay. So it was a nice day today on Bitcoin. Bitcoin miners also up nicely today. What else do we have here? We just had news come out recently within the last 2 hours that Marathon has been, the trading of it has been halted. So that's usually mergers and acquisition type of deal happening maybe. We'll get into that. That was from Dr. Lewis. So thank you to him for posting that. If you don't follow Dr. Lewis already on X, you definitely should follow him. He does a lot of great stuff on X, spaces and commentary and things like that. So we'll take a look at that. We also have Bitfarms coming out with an updated shareholder meeting date. So we'll look at that and the statements that they put into it as well. And then we'll take a look at the miners as far as August, which ones were the top 5. So we got a lot to go through. It was a good day. And yeah, let's get into it here. So we got to get through some of this legal stuff here. Not financial advice, for entertainment only. Do your own research, right? Full disclosure down below. And then if you enjoy this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. And let's get into it here. What we have here on Bitcoin and the miners first. So Bitcoin had a great day today. It went above our now resistance line of 57,500, came below it, but that's okay. We had a nice day. We were up almost 4% on Bitcoin. It closed at 57,053. So that's actually pretty good there. Had a great rally here in the last couple of days, actually, over the weekend and into today as well. Let's take a quick look at the CME futures. I mean, there's really no gaps here, so that's good at least on the daily. So that's something that we don't have to worry about, at least for right now. And then if we look at the weekly also time frame, we can see here that Bitcoin has been bouncing off this 50-day simple moving average, which is the purple line here. We bounced off of it back in, this was August 5th. And then we also bounced off of it here just last week as well. So that's a good sign here that we are at least bouncing off of it, right? Also, if we look at the RSI here, the last bottom that we were in here, this was back on July 1st on the weekly. It's actually, the RSI is actually a little bit higher than where we were at the bottom, and the price is a little higher as well. So that's a good sign there. Possibly we might be at the bottom here of it all. Maybe. We'll see. Right, September is typically not a good month for us, usually in the down month, but maybe we'll get lucky with it like we got lucky back in, 2015, 2016, where we had 2 years back-to-back where September was a green month for us. So maybe we'll have the same thing as last year. September was green for us as well. Okay, miners though. Miners had a really great day today. Some of them were up double digits in percentage gains. BitDigital was up 11%. Let's see, Bitfarms was up 8.3. Cypher was up 9.2. Cleanspark was up 9.1. CORZ was up 7.3. Digihost was up 9. DMG was up 8.3. Hive was up 7.7. Hut 8 up 10.78. IREN up 10.7 as well. Marathon was up 9.3. Mawson 6.3. Riot 6.7. Stronghold up 9.0. And Wolf was up 7.1. So it was a good day on it. The ETFs for the miners were also up quite nicely. So we're catching a little bit of bounce here. We'll see how tomorrow progresses forward for us. We have the debate between President Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris tomorrow. We'll see if they talk about Bitcoin or anything like that. If anything, we might discuss it or not, depending on when the debate is, I guess, and then what I'm doing the stream as well. So we'll talk about that maybe. And yeah, but overall, great day here. Nice to see a nice green day on Bitcoin and the Bitcoin miners as well. All right, so let's get into the stories that we do have here. The first one is going to be on Bitfarms here. So Bitfarms reschedules their special meeting of shareholders. This was supposed to be scheduled originally for like October 29th, but with the recent, statements from Riot that came out on the 3rd of September, so just last week, right? They are moving the date up a couple of days. Basically, what is it, like almost 2 weeks or something like that from the original date, so that they have time to prepare for it. But here's what we do have here. So Bitfarms today announced that it has rescheduled the special meeting of shareholders from October 29th to November 6th. Okay. So I said November 10th, I think. So November 6th, the special meeting has been called in response to a requisition made by Riot Bitfarms on June 24th and amended on September 3rd. Right, so that was last week. The special meeting was rescheduled to provide Bitfarms special committee adequate time to review and respond to Riot's amended requisition and provide shareholders with sufficient time to evaluate the information relevant to this voting decision regarding the future of their investment in Bitfarms. Okay, so that's all good. The Bitfarms board is focused on acting in the best interest of all Bitfarms shareholders. On the contrary, it is clear that Riot, as a direct competitor to Bitfarms, is only focused on taking steps to support its shareholders, not Bitfarms or its shareholders, which I kind of agree with that. Recognizing the high costs and distractions associated with the proxy contest, the Bitfarms Special Committee continues to seek to engage constructively with Riot in an effort to resolve the amended requisition so that Bitfarms need not expend its cash resources to protect the interests of its shareholders against the actions of Riot, which, yeah, it is, costly on that part. You got lawyers involved, you got everything else. It does take some cash to do it. To that end, Bitfarms Special Committee has proposed the following terms set out in a settlement agreement forwarded to Riot: the addition of one mutually agreed upon board nominee, resulting in an increase of the size of the board to 6, and standstill and other customary provisions. So basically, originally Riot wanted 3 board members added to it. They reduced that down to 2, but they still wanted to, I think, remove Fannie Phillip from there, and maybe another board member. And what Bitfarms is saying, no, we want to keep the board members that we do have. We'll let you have one more board member. That would get us to 6 board members total. So seems like a fair compromise there, potentially. The special meeting will be held in person. However, shareholders who will not be attending the special meeting in person will have the opportunity to listen through a live audio-only webcast. Shareholders entitled to vote at the special meeting will receive detailed information about the amended requisition, as well as other matters to be voted on at the special meeting in the form of management information circular in advance of the special meeting. Bitfarms shareholders do not need to take any action at this time. Okay, so that's good. So we are going to get information, right? I'm not going to be able to attend the meeting in person. I don't know. Probably most of you guys aren't going to be able to attend the meeting in person. So with that, they will provide us with information and how we can vote on it as well. And once we do receive that, I'll be sure to convey that information to you guys as well, because I will be voting on that as well. Okay, so that's kind of what the latest is on this. So it's being pushed back to November 6th right now, which isn't too bad. A couple of days. I thought it was a little bit longer than that, but it's not too bad. And we'll see how the vote goes. At that point, like I said before, if Riot is not successful in getting their way, maybe they will, at that point, pull back and maybe stop the hostile takeover. But we'll see. All right, so that's it. Next, here, this just came in recently here within the last 2 hours. Like I said, Dr. Lewis, at ChargeStack. If you're not following him, definitely give him a follow on X. Great, like I've said before, great spaces that he hosts with other people as well, co-hosts. Fabulous guy. But he also provides a lot of good information as well on the miners. So definitely worth checking him out. All right, so here's what he had. Marathon trading halted pending corporate actions, aka news is dropping. We are all ears, total guess, but I lean towards good news, obviously, and am waiting, like everyone else, to hear who, what Mara acquired, or what is the news. And yeah, we just don't know right now. And Mara pending corporate action, so this is usually something that's going to be the process of stock splits, mergers, and spinoffs. So we're guessing it's going to be a merger or a buyout or somebody. I posted a question here just recently to him about maybe 10 minutes before starting the live stream. Are there any other publicly traded companies that are also, their stocks are traded or halted for trading right now? That might be a tell. I don't know. I haven't seen a reply yet from him yet. So we'll see what or who is Marathon up to right now. Hopefully by tomorrow morning, we should possibly get a news release or something like that, a press release from Marathon, if this is truly the case. They do have a substantial war chest right now. The BTC that they have on hand is 1.5 billion in value as it is. They have pretty good cash on hand as it is also. If we look at their cash structure here, 371 million in cash right now. So that's almost puts them almost 2 billion in total assets, or just probably more than that, but they have plenty of cash if they wanted to do something. So it's definitely interesting to see what will come tomorrow. I'm thinking it's going to be something positive. Knowing Marathon and everything else, they're the only ones that can possibly do something really good here with the amount of everything that they have going for them. But we'll see. I don't know what you guys think as far as what's going on here with Marathon. Kind of interesting that the stock was halted at this late of an hour. Maybe it was halted a little bit earlier, but just didn't get noticed until 2 hours ago. All right, so that's it for that Marathon. We talked about Bitfarms as well. Let's take a look at the monthly numbers for August for the miners and pick the top 5 Bitcoin miners for operations. So we look at month-over-month hash rate growth, BTC percentage sold, Bitcoin per exahash efficiency, month-over-month BTC mined percentage, BTC mined, days mined, current hash rate, and HODL. And then we look at 8 metrics and then 6 metrics without the HODL and current hash rate, just to look at their progress basically from month to month overall. All right, so let's get into the first 2 here. The first 2 are month-over-month percentage hash rate growth. Higher is obviously better. IREN came in number 1 here, 52% growth here in the last month, right? They went from 10 something to 16 exahash basically. Huge growth for them. They took the top spot here, followed by Marathon 11% up. Then we got Hive at 6.73, followed by Cleanspark at 6.35, and then Cypher at 4.9. Those are the top 5 miners for hash rate growth here in the last month. Current hash rate, Marathon's still the top dog, right? Marathon's got 35 exahash right now. Riot's 23, so that's number 2 spot. Cleanspark is a number 3 spot with 22 exahash. CORZ just below that at 20 exahash, and then IREN is the number 5 spot now with 16 exahash. So those are top 5 for you guys can see the figures for the rest of them. BTC per exahash efficiency, BitDigital actually came in number 1, 21.97 based on my numbers, and I used the end of the month numbers for them for hash rate and what they mined, not the average operating hash rate for these guys. Cleanspark came in number 2 here, just slightly above Hive here, 21.15 compared to Hive 21.14. So Hive got a number 3 spot. Bitfarms came in 4th spot with 20.61, followed by BitDeer at 20.13. BitDeer gets a little bit better numbers because they also include in that the cloud hosting that they call it as well, which gets included into their numbers for Bitcoin mined. So based on that, maybe they should be there. Maybe it might be a little bit lower. So it was, depending where they came in, TeraWolf might have been number 5 spot. Okay. On it, then month-over-month BTC mined here. Iris was the only one for the month of August that actually mined more Bitcoin than the prior month. So, and that's kind of what I thought was going to happen actually, based on everybody else's reports that were coming in and seeing where everybody was. I'm like, if Iris was able to get to like 15 exahash or 16, that would have had to result in them actually mining more Bitcoin. So they came in number 1 here. They mined 10.36% more, and then everybody else actually mined less than the prior month. So Marathon was down the least, was down only 2.6%. Cleanspark was down in 3rd spot with 3.24% less than the prior month. Then Hive at 3.45, and then TeraWolf only down being 5.64. So those are the top 5 for month-over-month BTC mined percentage gains. Then when we look at BTC mined here, Marathon, again, coming in number 1 here with 629, followed by Cleanspark 478, Core at 358, Riot 322, and IREN at 245. So those are the top 5. And then that's how everybody else has stacked up below that. Days mined, BitDigital came in number 1 here, 29.47 days. Hive came in number 2 with 28.15, followed by Cleanspark, pretty close to that, also 28.12. Based on the numbers I could figure out. And then Bitfarms came in number 4 spot with 27, and IREN with 26.9 as well. So those are the top 5 for days being mined. And when we look at the HODL position, again, Marathon comes in number 1, 25,145 Bitcoin. Riot with 10,000, Hut with 9,100, and Cleanspark with 7,558 here, and Hive with 2,567. Those are the top 5 for HODL. And then BTC percentage sold, Marathon, I'm guessing didn't sell anything. I'm guessing that they actually HODLed everything that they had. Plus they bought like what, $200 some odd million worth of Bitcoin at that point. And that's why they have a negative number here. They actually increased their hash or their HODL a lot more than anybody else here. Cleanspark only sold 0.04%, Riot 2.2%, BitDigital 24%, Bitfarms 62.7%. So those are the top 5, and then everybody else here, how they all stacked up. CORZ at 104% only because they also sell the Bitcoin that they have for hosting that they get from that. That's why it comes up as a higher number for them. Okay, so based on all those metrics here, the scores based on the 8 metrics, how do you think everybody came in at? If you guys want to put in your votes right now, we'll get into how it actually looks. Marathon came in at number 1, just barely here, beating out Cleanspark with 23 points. Then we have the next miners here kind of being in the same group, more or less. Hive came in with 44 points, number 3 spot. Bitfarms along with IREN in number 4 spot. And Riot came in number 5 spot with 52 points. And then how everybody else has progressed forward from that. Scores are based on the 6 metrics that do not include the HODL or current hash rate. Things change a little bit on this. Cleanspark came in number 1 at 16 points. Marathon number 2 spot with 20. Then you got Hive with 28 points, number 3 spot. IREN with 31 points. Number 4 spot. Number 5 spot is Bitfarms. And you got BitDigital, TeraWolf, BitDeer, Riot, Cypher, Core, Hut 8 on all of that stuff. And when we look at the actual miners here, how they did on all of these metrics, we can see the Marathon did really well on a lot of these, except for BTC per exahash efficiency and days mined. Came in kind of high above their average. The average should be around 6 for these guys here on average. They're above that. And then we have Cleanspark, low on a lot of things. Not number 1 in any of them particularly, but on overall low numbers, right, which is good. Then we got Hive here, high on BTC mined and current hash rate. That's kind of what kind of hurt them a little bit there. Bitfarms also more or less average across the board here. A couple things that were a little bit nice and low, but overall that way. And then you got IREN here, really good on month-over-month hash rate, month-over-month BTC mined as well. But then they're high on their BTC per exahash efficiency a little bit. BTC HODL, they don't HODL anything, right? And Bitcoin sold, they sell everything there. So they get a little dinged on that one. But then we take it out for the 6 metrics. Riot here, high on a lot of these things. Month-over-month hash rate, BTC per exahash efficiency, month-over-month BTC mined, days mined. Other things were pretty good for them. BitDigital, really good on BTC per exahash efficiency and days mined, right? But everything else, except for BTC sold, is pretty high here. 12 spot for BTC mined, current hash rate, number 12, right? And we're just not hearing a lot of growth from them going forward. TeraWolf, kind of average across the board here. A little bit lower on the month-over-month BTC mined number, which is good. And then we got BitDeer, same thing, above average on most of these things. Core, above average on a lot of them, though, except for BTC mined and current hash rate. And then Cypher, above average on all these, except for month-over-month hash rate percentage gains. And Hut 8, above on all of these things, except for BTC HODL, really, on that one. Okay, so that's kind of how everything's stacked up. There's all the figures for it. And then 12-month running average on these. Let me see here. It's something pop up on my screen. I just freaked out that the stream was ended for some reason. Okay, back to it here. 12-month average score and ranking. So I look at the average scores or the scores over the last 12 months for each of these guys here, except for Core. Core, we only have about 8 months of data on them after they got out of Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Okay, so that one's a little bit shorter than the other ones. The other ones are 12 months. Core is the only one that's 8 months. And here's how things are stacking up right now. So this is for the 8 metrics, including HODL and current hash rate. Cleanspark came in number 1 with 28 points on average. Marathon with 37 points. Core with 44. Number 3 spot. Bitfarms number 4 spot at 48, along with Hive and Riot. Iris up a little higher here at 52. And Cypher at 53. BitDigital at 59. I probably should update it. So TeraWolf probably did better than BitDigital here. And then we got BitDeer and Hut 8 at the end here. Take out the HODL and hash rate, and things look this way now. We got Cleanspark number 1 spot, Hive at number 2, Bitfarms number 3 spot, Iris number 4 spot, Core number 5, and then the list goes on here over the last 12 months. Okay, I like to look at that as well, just to see how everybody's doing, how they're progressing overall in the last 12 months and things like that. So, kind of good information here from all these guys. A lot of good stuff. Some miners aren't doing a little. They could do a little bit better, I guess you'd say. Okay. But that is it on that. And let's get into your guys' Q&A side of things. But as always, I guess have my little sales pitch in the middle here. Patreon members, absolutely love those guys and gals in there. They help support the channel tremendously, along with the YouTube members. They do get the spreadsheets typically by the end of the stream when I do that. If it's late, I may do it in the morning, but usually within 12 hours of doing the stream. Link for that is down in the description. It's $8 a month if you want to get access to all this stuff. And that is it on it. Okay. So let's get into the Q&A. See what you guys have, any questions or anything like that. And it is going to be a little bit delayed. It's about 10 to 15 seconds delayed from when you guys actually post your question and when I actually see it on my screen here. So be patient. I will get to all your questions as well. Okay. Okay. Let's see what we got here. Okay. Trying to find a good. Well, trying to find a question in general. Let's see. Average J every day says, "Hey, Riot, buy Bitfarms for $5 a share, then we can talk." yeah, I think that would be much better offer potentially. Let's see here. Emik says, I don't want your opinion. I want Seb's opinion. Please restate your question. I might have missed it up top here. Just going back up a little bit on the questions. Let's see. DK says, looks like people are able to buy more on IBKR overnight. Robinhood glitch. So it might be a Robinhood glitch that's causing that. Maybe. Let's see. Per RH, pending corporate action, Mara is unavailable to trade in some sessions. Data updates may be delayed. Robinhood, right? So per Robinhood. Let's see, Bryce, how you doing, buddy? Great way to start the week. Absolutely. Do you think it will hold up? I'm hoping it does. We'll see. I mean, we're early into September. Like we said before, September has been historically a bad month for Bitcoin miners, and well, for Bitcoin miners in general. So we'll see. It'd be nice to get a green month in September as well, and then go into October, have another green month, followed by November. That would be great. P says, MicroStrategy to acquire Mara. This makes most sense. What? I don't know. I mean, yes, sure, they could possibly mine Bitcoin at a lower cost, but they've been doing great just the way that they have been doing things, issuing bonds or corporate debt and buying more Bitcoin at that point. Let's see. Georgia asks, what software do we need to read the spreadsheets? Will Excel work? So I provided to you guys in Patreon in 3 different formats. Excel is an export from Apple Numbers. So Apple Numbers is what I use. And then I also provide a PDF of it so you can see all the data. If you want to work with the data, you really want to have Apple Numbers at that point. Okay. Sebastian, I sub IREN and cooped some, or you sold some IREN and cooped up some Cleanspark today. Did I run goof, or do you think it was a reasonable decision considering Cleanspark has dipped below 50% compared to IREN 20% in the last 3 months? Well, IREN dipped quite a bit also. I mean, IREN was like $16. It came down quite a bit. So I think it was also down around 50% from where it really was. Either one of those, I think you'll do fine with them going forward, Cleanspark or IREN, regardless which one you get into, or if you have both of them, that's even great. That's what I have right now. And I bought in last week on Tuesday. I haven't bought in some more, but I am looking to buy while the prices are low. Ed says, hello, Seb. I haven't been following much on BTC news due to work. Any news on Mt. Gox or U.S. government BTC sale? I have not seen anything on it, at least new. So you may be just as up to date on it as I am right now. Let's see. Is Bitfarms giving up on Riot? Not sure what you mean giving up on Riot. Like, are you saying are they giving up and they're going to basically sell to Riot? I don't think that's the case. They're just frustrated, I think, with it, right? It costs money to battle this kind of thing. And it's just a waste of not only Bitfarms' time, but also Riot's time, I think, as well. Okay, covered that one. Let's see here. Andy asks, Mara doesn't have enough money to buy Cleanspark, do they? I have OTM calls, Cleanspark calls, and it would suck if they went to zero because of an acquisition. Yeah, Cleanspark's not going to be selling anyways. Cleanspark has huge growth going forward as it is, so I see no reason for them to sell. I would think maybe some of the smaller miners, but Marathon does have the money. I mean, if they wanted to spend their BTC HODL, that's one thing, but I don't think they're going to do that. So we'll have to wait and see what that comes out to be. Also, could Mara be trying to outbid Riot on buying Bitfarms? Maybe. They could do it, but again, do they want to spend the HODL that they have? Probably not. Yeah, I don't know. That would be interesting, though, if there was... Well, Riot does not have a formal bid in place right now. They're just trying to put in board seats in there. So we'll have to wait and see till tomorrow, see what happens, if anything. Let's see. P says, no sales from U.S. government and Gox, all distributed, so none issues. Okay, great. Yeah, thank you. Let's see. Hey, Seb, was last week's dip mostly bought by retail or by institutions yesterday? Yesterday is today. I think you're talking about Monday, right? I don't know. I don't have the data for that, so I really don't know. I'm guessing it's probably a combination of institutions and retail, but mostly probably institutions, I would think. Let's see. Chris says Mara is not halted. Moonboy's price is changing. So yeah, it might be just Robinhood glitch. Let's see. Mark asks, do you believe more in fundamentals for BTC or in technicals, or is technicals more important? Fundamentals of BTC miners or just BTC in general? I mean, depending on the fundamentals, technicals would be more on the, I guess, the charts, right? Whereas fundamentals is more on the actual underlying performance of the company. I would think fundamentals are more important, but technicals, I mean, where Bitcoin goes, the miners follow also. So it's kind of tough. Let's see. Tom Lee went on CNBC and said the bad September month has been pulled forward to the first week. Oh, well, that'd be good. Yeah, I mean, Tom Lee, sometimes he can be a little bit over bullish, I think. But sometimes he is right on some things. Did you buy any miners? Not today. I bought some last week on Tuesday. I probably should have waited a little bit longer. We got a little bit bigger dip into the week anyways. But I did buy on Tuesday. I bought Cleanspark, Bitfarms, and IREN last week. Let's see, if Bitcoin only went to 75,000, stayed there for several months before breaking higher, how would the miners do? Depending on what do you mean by several months? 1, 2, 3 months? Probably not too bad, but if we're talking about 6 months or more, then that might be kind of bad for the miners. Do you consider this Bitfarm news a good one or a bad one? Riot is going to refuse anyway, right? They might refuse, right? We'll have to wait until what Riot responds with. But this is at least they're giving a counter offer to them. And, you know, Riot kind of capitulated a little bit, right? They wanted 3 board seats. They went down to 2. So maybe they'll settle for 1. I don't know. We'll see. Let's take a look here. Bitfarms, any insiders buying or any other on the any other of the miners? Let me see if I can pull that up. I don't actually know. I don't have my app up right now for it. That's interesting. Something we may want to take a look at during this week as well. See what's going on there. I think CORZ has been having some people buying insiders, which will be good there. But that's a good idea. Maybe we should take a look at that. We haven't done that at probably 6 months to a year. I think last time we looked at that. Let's see. What are your personal thoughts of Mike Alfred? I like Mike Alfred. He's got a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge, but he's also, I guess you could say, I wouldn't say skewed, but what's the word I'm looking for? There's a word for it. I think the companies that he backs, right, IREN and things like that, he may be a little biased, I guess you could say, which is fine. You could also say I'm a little biased on like Cleanspark and Bitfarms and IREN and CORZ because of the research that I've done, the data that I've seen, so I could be a little bit more biased on those guys. So overall, like I said, I think Mike is a great addition to the community. He has a lot of knowledge. He's had a lot of experience in the industry as well. So a lot of the stuff you have to kind of also take with a grain of salt a little bit. But yeah, overall, I think he's a net positive. Let's see here. Sebastian, what miner would you buy at these current levels if you could only choose? Well, if I only could choose one at these levels, it would be probably between, might be even CORZ, I think, because of their HPCI play that's happening next year sometime. But if it was just a miner that doesn't have HPC or something like that, would have to choose between Cleanspark and, I don't know. That's a tough one. The one that I think is most undervalued right now is still Bitfarms, but Bitfarms has baggage, right? So maybe I would go into that one also. And just kind of see what happens with Riot eventually. If Riot actually backs out, would that be good for the stock? Also, with Bitcoin going up, how much more can Bitfarms go up to make it unappealing for Riot? At that point, would that help also the stock? Who knows? I mean, there's a lot of what ifs. Let's see. What personally holds you back on Cypher? You're the best. Thank you. The only thing for me that holds me back on Cypher is their growth into this year. They have a lot more growth into next year, possibly the second half of next year. And that's kind of what holds me back. If they could have gotten to like 20, 25 exahash this year, or close to at least 20 exahash, I think, that would have been more appealing to me, I think. Let's see. Meatforce says, my theory is we have to weather the storm for another month or so, then see how BTC goes. If BTC is still flat with no sign of all-time high in sight by mid to late March, then I may start to worry. Yeah, I think we need to get to a new all-time high here before the end of the year, potentially. We need to break that 73,000 previous all-time high. If we can do that, get like to 80, maybe 90,000 or something by the end of the year, that would alleviate a lot of my concerns that this might be a totally different cycle, because at that point, it might be a prolonged cycle where we go up slower, which at that point, I don't know if that would be good for the miners. Let's see. SNH says, Bitfarms delaying the meeting from October 29th to November 6th isn't making much sense. I think there's something hidden we aren't aware of, potentially. It could be also that Riot came in at September 3rd, right, just with a change in whatever they had in there. So they just wanted a little bit more time. It's not too bad. It's only, 7 days, 8 days, whatever it might be. I can't remember how many days are in October. So it's not too bad of a delay. If it was like a month out, okay, then yeah, there might be something else in there. Let's see. Any news on BitDeer? Where do you value them? Any news on the seal miners? I believe the seal miners, they did provide that information in the latest production updates for August. The seal miners are on track for Q4 production run. And they're working on the seal miner 2s and everything else. That all looks like it's on track. Where do I value them? Kind of similar to what we have going on with Cypher. Not a lot of growth this year, a lot more growth into 2025 and into 2026. My concern with that is we might be at the end or towards the end of the bull run at that point. But still could do really well if they increase their hash rate this year some and more so into next year as well. Yeah, that's kind of the way I look at them. Let's see. DK says some rumors going around also that GameStop is showing a new class of shares through Vanguard and others. Speculation about an acquisition. Mara. Why would they want to buy Mara? GameStop. I mean, okay, if they want to get into Bitcoin mining, that might be a play if they have enough capital to do it. That would be kind of interesting. Imagine what was that? Roaring Kitty getting into the Bitcoin miners with his following. Let's see. If there's a 25 basis rate cut, how will the miner stock prices react? I think it's going to be good. Risk on assets at that point should do well, right? Anytime we get rate cuts, it's good for risk on assets. Hello, Seb. Do you think Cleanspark is super undervalued right now? And do you think they can get to 25 exahash by the end of September? They're close to that, right? They're at 20. Where's Cleanspark at right now? Let's go look at their sheet. Oh, where is it at? There it is. Okay, go over here. Cleanspark's at 22 exahash, possibly, but at the end of September, yeah, maybe they can get to that, 25. And then, do I think they're super undervalued right now? They are at 8. Well, this is 809 as of Friday numbers. I didn't pull in the numbers from today. But yeah, I think they should be like at 1523 to 2285, somewhere in between there right now, with just where they are. So I do think that they are way undervalued from where they should be, but so are a lot of these guys here recently. I think the only one that's coming up a little overvalued, I think, was Hut 8 possibly, and that's just on their Bitcoin mining. That does not include any of the other things. But yeah. Okay. Mara buying Bitfarms? Maybe. Who knows? Okay. Can you explain the advantage it is to get Riot members on the board if an acquisition would come down to a shareholder vote anyways? Well, if Riot owns 20% of it and institutions own another 20-some-odd% of it, could Riot get institutions to go in favor of it? And then the hope would be that not all shareholders would vote, right? And they could possibly get the vote to go through. So that's why they wanted to get the board members there to possibly sway the other board members to make it seem like it is somehow beneficial to all the parties involved. That's kind of the way I was thinking about it. Let's see. Hi, Seb. Your prediction for Mara when Bitcoin hits 100,000. I mean, that's not too far off from where we are right now. Conservatively, I would expect them to be, closer to $30 than where they are right now, maybe even higher, somewhere around there. Meat4 says, wouldn't that be a twist after all Riot's action if Mara buys Bitfarms? Yeah, I mean, depending on what the offer would be, they would have to have a pretty good sizable offer there, I think, in order for Bitfarms to consider it. Let's see. Hey Seb, what's your price target for Cleanspark if Bitcoin goes to 120, 150,000? At that point, I would say somewhere between 50 and like $60, maybe something like that. I think Bitcoin has to go above 150 for them to get close to $70 per share, possibly. That was my target there. They've increased more shares, so we're looking now maybe $65, possibly conservatively. If Bitcoin goes to 180,000, something like that, that's kind of what I'm thinking. But we'll see if we can get there. Let's see. Riot is not going to Wainwright Miner Conference in New York. Bitfarms, Mara, and Cleanspark attending. What's up with Riot? I don't know. Maybe they're just busy. Jason maybe has some other things that he has to partake in. Let's see. Is Wolf still the most overvalued per exahash per market cap? Yes, they are still. What if MicroStrategy acquires Mara? Now that will be very bullish for crypto. Yeah, but again, why would they do that? They've done a great job just buying Bitcoin, using debt and everything else. Why get into the hassle of also trying to run a Bitcoin mining operation? Let's see here. Seems like a bunch of people in mining mafia capitulated and sold out last week. A little surprising considering that group. Well, depending on when the people got into it, that's the hard part about it. If you got into it a couple of months back when prices were much higher and you're down 50%, that is a tough pill to swallow. It's not easy to stomach that kind of a drop and still have conviction that your bet, your trade is going to play out well. So I can totally understand it, but that's kind of why you have to look at it differently, I think. When people are fearful, it's time to be greedy, especially if you have high conviction in some of these things, right? Let's see. HD Tech says, when Tom Lee talks, people listen. Yeah, correct. Let's see here. Mark says, Mara has a 4 billion market cap. If they were being bought, Mara would demand at least 68 billion minimum, and MicroStrategy could just buy, 68 billion in BTC. Exactly. Let's see here. Mara in the S&P 500, no, I don't think so. There's certain requirements that you have to meet in order to get into the S&P 500. Let's see. I have some Dogecoin like you. Did you notice that the coin didn't move even slightly after Elon Musk tweet? I did not. I don't even check the price on it recently. I'll check it when Bitcoin's up much higher. We'll see where it is at that point. I'm still in the green on it, so anything that get above it now is just gravy for me. Eventually, I will sell it in this cycle along with my other altcoins that I have. I'm done with altcoins. Mortim27, thank you so much for the super chat. Greatly appreciate it. The question, do you think Mara would merge with IREN? IREN has a nice pipeline of megawatts. That might be appealing, but I don't think they would want to merge. I think they would want to buy them out. The way the marathon works, they want to be in control. Merging with somebody gets a little more dicey. Okay, Mark says, around close to day there was a large spike in Mara. $35 January 2026 calls, options, insider buying. Do you think it's a good sign for Mara or neutral? I think it might be a good sign there, yeah. Let's see here. Didn't Trump say he will let Elon Musk get high position in the government? Dogecoin up. Well, yeah, he's talking about, what was it? It was basically an oversight committee of the government and on spending, things like that. If there's too much, yeah. How much would Elon at that point have power to do anything? It has to still go all through Congress. It's more, I don't know how much they could do. I mean, they could look into all this stuff and point out all the bad spending that's going on there. But how much can they actually have an impact on it? I just don't know. Let's see. One of two miners did the kind of multiples in the past week when BTC wasn't mainstream because it was easier to own proxy via stock instead of getting a wallet for an average investor. Yes. Let's see, 2 of 2 here is the part of it. Now anyone can easily own BTC from major exchanges. What will propel miners to 2 to 3x? Well, the people that were getting into the miners back then, I think, were not getting into Bitcoin or had Bitcoin in general, right? People that are buying the ETFs now were not into the Bitcoin miners. Bitcoin miners are very, very, you could say risky. They're also highly leveraged to Bitcoin as it is. A lot of people just don't do that unless you're like us, where you see potential to where you could possibly do really well. And a lot of people are more, I would say, conservative in their investing. They might put in, a couple percentage points into something that's kind of risky like this, kind of like people get into penny stocks and things like that. So that's kind of the way I would look at it. Let's see. Blake says, I think Mara has bought Applied. Didn't Applied get what did they get recently? Like a loan or something like that from somebody from NVIDIA for possibly HPC business or something like that. Let's see. Blake says, yep, my bet is Mara bought Applied Digital. Maybe. Ryan, hit the like button. Yes, if you guys enjoy it, hit the like button. The SH Bitfarms with 500,000 shares outstanding and 30 exahash with BTC at 150. Where do you see Bitfarms trading at? Thanks. Oh, you mean like, are you talking about 500 million shares outstanding? Not 500,000? 500 million shares outstanding. What does Bitfarm have now? 400 some million shares, right? What do they have? 451. Yeah, so that wouldn't be too far off. I think they should be just now. Given where they are, they should be like 403 to 605, somewhere around there. So I think a $5 range would be adequate just now. Now Bitcoin goes up to, like you're saying, to what was that? Let's see, Bitcoin at 150,000. That's roughly a 2.5x. So at that point, it should be like probably $15 to $20 at that point, I would think. Let's see. GameStop has over $4 billion in cash and no debt. The earnings report is tomorrow. Okay. So they could possibly buy Marathon if they wanted to with the cash that they have, or they could do half cash and then half in stocks and shares, right? That would be interesting. Let's see. Could it be that retail buyers are already in by investing in ETFs and we won't see a lot of retail involvement going forward? Are you talking about involvement in ETFs or Bitcoin miners? I don't know. I think we're going to see involvement in both retail and institutions into the miners. I mean, we've already seen a huge increase just from a year ago from where we were with the Bitcoin miners and institutions. A lot of them have been buying a lot more in, and I expect that to go up, and then maybe more retail happening into it as we get much higher in prices. As retail starts seeing some of these miners are up 20, 30, 40, 50% in a couple of weeks, they're going to start getting into it as well. That's where usually you get the FOMO in. Let's see. Seb, Q4 is really bullish for BTC historically. Are you loading the boat this month? Yeah, I'm trying to get as much as I can. Bought last week on Tuesday, Bitfarms, Cleanspark, and IREN. I'm going to buy some more, but just got to scrounge up some cash. What is your price prediction for IREN 2025? Bitcoin price 180,000. They have 40 excess operational. They have an AI contract expanding to 60 by end of 2025. Oh gosh. Really 180. Yeah, I still think somewhere around $80 for IREN right now. If they grow their hash rate even more, I would think they can get even higher depending on how much they dilute. So somewhere around there. Let's see, can any miner do 5x from here? Yes, from where they are right now. 5x on a lot of these guys would actually be not that bad. It would be kind of actually low, I think. If we look at the miners here really quick, just where they are right now as of today, right? Cleanspark at 883, that would give us $40. I think it's going probably a little bit higher than 60 this cycle. CORZ is a tough one because their business is not until 2025 with the HPC business. Bitfarms is at $2 right now. 5x would be 10. I think they can go higher than that. BitDeer, more growth into next year as well. Not so much this year. Who else do we have the top miners here? Hive, I think could possibly do a 5x. Hut 8 is questionable unless they can get their Bitcoin miners upgraded and increase their hash rate, or if they get HPCI play. IREN, same thing, would be only like $35. Marathon at that point would be $90. So that one might be questionable there a little bit. It's still pretty high, $14 or $15, right? What would they get us to? $75. So maybe a 5x on that one. Riot at 6, that would get us to $30 some dollars, $35, something like that. Possibility there. And then Wolf at $4. Wolf doesn't have a lot of growth here this end of the year, and we haven't heard any updates as far as where they want to grow. So that one would be questionable unless they get an AI HPC customer in there as well. Okay. Okay. Where do you see Riot price at the market high? If they buy Bitfarms, we expect Riot to be 80. We expect Riot to be at 80 alone. That's with much better uptime, much better operational, depending. Okay, so let's just say, take a scenario here. Let's say they buy Bitfarms out, but their other sites they own right now are still operating at like 65, 75, maybe percent. They're not fully operational. Would that result in a much better stock price going forward with Bitfarms? It's going to be share-based dilution also because they're talking about using shares, so that would dilute them. So I would still think they should be probably north of 60. I don't know exactly where without running the numbers fully on it, but probably it's 60. And then if they can improve their uptime, maybe even higher than that, probably like 70 or not higher, maybe than that. But I mean, you guys have seen Riot over the last 52 weeks is the worst performing here. And the only reason is their uptime, right? So that's kind of been dragging them down. And maybe some investors are not happy with them trying to buy out Bitfarms. Maybe. Let's see. Chris says, let Mora buy Bitfarms for $6 and Riot will be golden with 20% stake. Yeah. Yeah, that could work out. Let's see. Hey, so do you know why Cleanspark production has been going down? I tracked their daily production and they are on pace to produce less than 480 Bitcoin in September. Network hash rate increasing, meaning that difficulty is also increasing. So if they're not growing their hash rate, the production is going to be going down, right? So we saw that with all the miners in August. Everybody except for IREN that far outpaced the network hash rate growth produced less Bitcoin from the prior month. So that's the reason why. Let's see. P says Chris makes this chat fun. Bow to him, please, peasant. All right, yeah. Chris does have. Chris is a bull on Riot. We know that for a fact. And he does make the chat fun. If Bitcoin doesn't break 100,000 in this cycle, do the pure miners return much less than the HPCI potential miners? Okay, so yeah, if we don't go above 100,000, the HPC customers, HPC AI potential miners might outperform the regular pure play Bitcoin miners. Yes, I would think that might be the case. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, we're talking about Riot here and Riot's performance. Let's see what else we got here. Yeah, you guys talking about that. See if there's any questions. Okay. Sorry, bear with me. I'm trying to find a question here. Mark says, okay, just check the SEC filings. No news for Mara. Hoping I can lock in 5 in options in the morning tomorrow. Okay. Okay, this is quite the hypothetical question here. Sebastian, a building is on fire. Bryce and Anthony trapped inside. You can only save one. Who would you save? Oh, man. Well, I would try to save both of them if I could. But if I only could save one and they're unconscious, at that point, I would probably have to save, I think, maybe Bryce. Bryce weighs a little bit less than Anthony does. Might be a little tougher for me to try to get Anthony out. So, Anthony, if you're listening to this, buddy, lose a little weight. If there's ever a situation where I have to save you, that would be the way to do it. Let's see. Can we appreciate Seb's comment on emotional demeanor in guiding us all through the craziness that is Bitcoin mining investing, whether giant red or green day, just solid. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, I'm pretty even keel when it comes to stress or just bad news, good news, whatever it might be. I don't know if it's a flaw of mine or a benefit. I think it's a benefit more times than not. Let's see. Okay. What are the chances of IREN reaching above 20 exahash by the end of September and 30 by? I think the chances are good that they're going to get close to 20 exahash, if not get to the 20 exahash by the end of September here, and then 30. I think is also a really good chance for them to get to by the end of the year. Okay. What else we got here? Okay. Chris says Riot will hit 122 next year as the biggest miner. You know, I hope you're right. I hope if you guys are investing right and it gets to that, I'm all for it, right? I want all you guys to do well. So that would be great. What else we got? What else? Okay, here's another hypothetical. If Anthony and your dog are on fire, which one do you save when BTC is at 150,000? Which one? I guess I'll save them both if I can. My dog doesn't weigh that much. My dog weighs maybe 15 pounds or something like that. Put him on top of Anthony, I'll pull them both out. Okay. Let's see. What's your top buys? Still IREN and Bitfarms. Yeah, I bought more into them last week, along with Cleanspark, because Cleanspark went below or close to where I was buying it back in January of 2022. I was buying it at $9.06, I think it was at that time, and I bought in at like $9.60, $9.18 on Tuesday. So yeah, I've been buying those. Let's see. Last cycle peak was March, April. When do you think we peak this cycle? If we don't have a double top like we did last time, I think they'll peak a week or two, possibly before Bitcoin does. Unless we have a double top, then at that point it would probably be the first peak that we might peak. The only one that did another top was Marathon at that point. Everybody else did not go back to their all-time high or reach their all-time highs. Let's see. With all due respect to Bryce, I only watch McNally. For Anthony, he sounds experienced and mature. Well, Anthony's quite a bit older. Bryce could be Anthony's son right now. I think Anthony actually has a son that's Bryce's age. So Anthony has been around much longer, right? But Bryce is great at keeping the flow going. He's got some information there as well, and he's a great guy. I like Bryce, and I like Anthony too. Let's see. What's your net worth? Still not $1 million, so got a long ways to go to that. What's your top buys this month? Cleanspark looks good at these levels, but IREN too. Yeah, I agree. That's why I bought Cleanspark and IREN and Bitfarms last Thursday. Let's see. Price prediction of Bitfarms at 50 basis rate cut. Oh, I think at that point, I think that might spook the market. So they would actually be down. If we get a 50 basis rate cut here in September, that might spook the market, meaning that the Fed was off on the numbers and things are worse than they thought. So that would not be good. Okay. Do you see any realistic possibility that the Stronghold shareholders will vote for the package that was agreed upon by both boards with Bitfarms purchase? I think so, right? They wouldn't come out with it if the boards weren't on board with it. So yes. Okay, what else we got here? Okay, if you're watching the video with your girlfriend, what would you say to her to get her to start DCing into the miners? She has about $500 in BTC because I said so. Gosh, I don't know. I mean, you could maybe try to explain the leverage play on Bitcoin miners here and how much more you can possibly gain on it, but there's also more risk that could go to the downside also. So never put in more than you're willing to risk on it, as always. Let's see. Mark says, I think I found the Mara corporate action. Please do share with us. See. Laserbeam Sandwich says, I bought CORZ at 22. Don't talk like you know my portfolio. Oh, keep showing. Okay, you guys are going back and forth there. What are the chances of Satoshi Nakamoto coming back online after a Bitcoin hitting $1 million to say something? I would say probably zero on that. Bitcoin, from what he had, the amount of Bitcoin that he had, Bitcoin getting to 69,000, he was worth several, I think, $1 billion at that point. So he could have said something at that point. He could have retired easily. his family would have been set for the next 10 generations probably if they did things right. So I don't think that's going to happen. Do you still see Bitfarms between 2 and 4 by November? Yeah, depending where Bitcoin goes. If Bitcoin goes higher than, closer to 100,000, maybe we could be higher than that. Maybe $6 to $8. We'll have to see. My girlfriend said she trusts you more than she trusts me. Okay. I don't know what to say to that. Maybe find out why. Let's see. What's the biggest advice you've learned throughout your 60 years of living? Wow, do I look that old, guys? I'm not 60 yet. Getting there, but I'm not there. Still a decade or two shy of that. But what's the biggest thing I've learned? The biggest things I've learned is family is the most important thing. Kids are extremely important, spending time with them. And then also patience, hard work, being loyal, trustworthy. Those are all things that I think, most people aspire to have. And then just being level-headed on things. Don't let things push your buttons. Be even keel more or less. And, just go with the flow on things. The only things you can control are your own actions. You can't control anybody else's actions also. Okay. Okay. I don't know if this is true or not. Apparently the news for Mara is live. It's changing name to Mara Holdings. Okay. Didn't they just do a name change to Mara from Marathon? What was it? Marathon Digital. Okay. Laughing my butt off. A lot of hype over a name change. Yeah, if it's just a name change. But why? I mean, so are they signaling that they're going to become like a MicroStrategy then? Is that what's happening here? Let's see. It says there's no way you look 60. What the heck? Let's see. Bitcoin to 13 million by 2045. Sorry, it says I'm Sailor. 13 million. Wow, that would be 2045. That would be right around the time when I possibly would retire. That would be great if it was 13 million. How bad would inflation be at that point, though, also? Man, but if inflation stayed in check with just going up 2 to 3% a year, well, my little share would be a nice value for the Bitcoin that I hold on that long, if I hold on to it that long. Let's see. Is Seb French? No. I am European, but not French. Let's see. Yeah. All right, guys. And gals, appreciate you guys coming in here, but I think we've pretty much caught up on everything and all the questions. And we've been going on an hour now. So we'll see if Marathon is a name change. Okay, yeah, that's a lot of hoopla for just a name change there. And why change the name anyways? I mean, they were Marathon Digital before, I think. They changed it to Mara. Now they're Mara Holdings. Are they going to go back to Mara holding patents again? Go back to the patent thing that they were doing before? Who knows? But yeah, if that's all it is, then this was a nothing burger. All right, guys, we'll see what happens tomorrow. We got, what's tomorrow? Tuesday. We got the presidential debate like we talked about. We'll see if there's any news on Bitcoin in that, if they say anything about it at all from either camp. And yeah, we'll just see what else happens. We'll look at some other metrics on the miners that we do have. We'll look at maybe the short interest. We have to look at that still, how that has changed over the last month. We'll look at other things as well going forward here. So it should be a fun week ahead. All right. But I wish you guys all a very, very wonderful evening or morning if you're waking up, and a great day for Tuesday. And hopefully you guys have a great week overall. All right. I'll see you guys tomorrow.